We both work full-time jobs,
Right.
and finding time to do nothing, even on our days off, I think it's just kind of hard. It's just difficult, and you actually do much better with it than me.
Yes, I love when I get some time to just do nothing and relax. And
Yeah.
actually, I prefer it because I need that time to recharge. It's super important to my life and how I go about things because if I don't get that time, as you know, then I become cranky.
I think we all do. Like, I become cranky. I was even cranky a little bit today because it was one of my off days, and
Yeah.
we were emptying out our storage unit, or I was emptying out some of the stuff of my stuff, and
Yeah.
it's just kind of hard to actually take the time.
Yeah, especially when you only have limited time. So let's say you only have 2 days
Yeah.
or you only have 1 day in between when you have to work. Sometimes those days you have to run errands. You have to do things that are time sensitive and you don't necessarily have enough time to take a break. So it's like, where do you create those boundaries where you say, I'm going to do these 3 things and then I'm going to stop at this time, or I, need to build in a break for myself.
Yeah. Welcome back to Brewed Together. And if you didn't catch on already, we're talking about taking time to just do nothing. And how do we do that?
Yes. And I'm Alexa,
And I'm Abe.
in case you're new here.
So, talked about the outline for this and how we want to do this podcast.
Yeah.
For this episode, we want to talk about what looks like our perfect lazy day.
Mm-hmm. So what is that for you?
So, for me, I struggle with that because I am a person that likes to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just need a day to do nothing. But do nothing for me looks more of like maybe going to a coffee shop, working on a blog post, or listening to an audiobook.
Yeah.
I watch TV here and there, but really what I've been into is the BBC like wildlife, which sometimes I'll
Just on
watch
TV,
yeah,
right?
just regular. I think it's Samsung TV or something. That's
Yeah.
what we have. And so it's super relaxing. There's no like politics or drama, or not even like listening to another podcast or anything like that. It's just
Right.
pure, just like looking at animals in the natural world.
Yeah.
So that's what I find really calming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's your day look like for you? Having like a day of doing nothing, if you do nothing.
So my day of doing nothing is almost literally doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
When you mention going to a coffee shop, or going out on your bike or whatever it is, that is not doing nothing to me. That is
going
doing
out on my
something.
bike, I wouldn't. Yeah, I guess that. Yeah, I do like going on my bike when
like
I do nothing.
that. I
sometimes.
see that is feeding your soul. That is like giving you what you need to relax, or maybe it's just for exercise purposes, so that you feel like you can really, relax. I feel like it's almost like meditative for you to maybe go on a bike ride.
Yeah.
But for me, I haven't done this in a long time, but I love to literally lay on the bed. I'm going to be 100% honest. I am one of those. I will rot in the bed, like the girls say online.
In the bed?
Yeah, that's
I haven't heard of that.
That's what they say. I haven't done that in a long time. I did that a couple weeks ago, and it felt so good just to lay
you
there.
Didn't tell me that.
And I I think I listened to podcasts, maybe watch a couple YouTube videos. I brought my laptop into the bed with me, and I was all cuddled up and cozy, and it was the best thing ever. Turned off all the lights, which is how I recharge. I don't like a lot of lights on. And I think what it does is,
I know. Well, when you first did that, I thought you were depressed.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we first started living together.
Yeah. And for me, it's just when I have all the lights off or dimly lit lights in a room, it takes away almost like all the visuals, all the noise that is like in my mind, because I feel like my mind's even though I'm more introverted, and so I think I have a rich inner world where there's a lot going on in my mind, and I'm always thinking about stuff, and just having that dim light helps kind of quiet everything. And so that's what I like. So I do that. Sometimes it's just watching YouTube videos, like catching up on things that I've wanted to watch. Maybe that's movies, reality TV is my guilty pleasure, of course.
You were doing
And
TikTok for a while as well. I
yeah,
think you're,
I watched TikTok for a while. I haven't
yeah.
in a long
You've moved
time.
to what, YouTube?
I watch YouTube Shorts, but I've always watched YouTube
Yeah.
since I was like young. I watch that. I have like favorite people I like to watch, and then sometimes it's simply just listening to a podcast and doing little things that I need to do around here.
Yeah.
But mostly, the best lazy days for me, or those kinds of days, is when I get to be at home.
So in terms of having your lazy day, if you were to have 2 days and you had to do something on one of those days, are you going to pick the first day or are you going to pick the second day?
Ooh, that's actually a very
Like
good
to have your
question.
lazy day.
Ooh.
For me, while you think about it, I think I like to. It's a hard one,
It is
but
hard.
I think what I like
what
to do.
kind of week are we having?
Right.
That's what I need to know.
I think I like to do the stuff that I have to do on my first day, and then
Yeah.
that second day have a lazy day because it like preps you for the upcoming, work days that you have, like taking a nice bike ride or something like that for me.
Yeah.
But then I like kind of waver back and forth because the next day I know I'm gonna be tired if I go take a bike ride.
Right.
But yeah, so I think the second day for me is like the day that I would take my lazy day.
It's tricky, yeah. So probably the first day for me is when I would do everything. So usually that day is Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So I only have weekends off.
Yeah.
And yeah, so usually on that Saturday, I'll feel more inclined to do things just because usually the work week is very busy and hectic. And that's my focus for the week. After I come home, I'm tired, just, like you are. And I don't want to do much. So Saturday is kind of the day when everything's happening. Events are going on. People are out or people are planning things. And so those are the days I want to be out. But I will take it slow in the morning.
That was my next question. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have your lazy day on the first day out of the two and then do everything on that second day, like the chores or whatever we got to do, grocery shopping. But
no, I want to do things on Saturday.
Oh, you want to do everything on Saturday?
Yeah, everything on Saturday. But I need a little bit of rest in the morning. Oh. It's so hard to just have a weekend off.
You got to split part. You got to put some of that laziness into
some of the laziness has to go into the Saturday too in the morning. I love quiet mornings. No matter what day it is, I love when it's quiet.
That's something that we actually differ on. Yeah.
Yes.
So I like to be, I don't know, say loud, but I like to be like energetic in the mornings.
Yeah.
So that was my next question coming. Yeah. Like, which part of the day would you be lazy in?
Yeah, the morning.
The morning,
because I feel like you can sleep in. If I'm thinking about a weekend, I can sleep in.
Sleep into 8, I think. Or no, what do you even sleep into, actually? I sleep farther than, longer than you, that's why.
I used to be able to sleep in, but now that I'm getting up so early in the morning, I get up at like 5:30 most days. So I'm getting up at maybe 6:30. That's like almost sleeping in for me. But I love when I wake up and it's still dark outside and everything in the world just feels like it's stopped, and quiet.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. It just helps me wake up. It helps me feel at peace as soon as I wake up. I get my little coffee and then I, drink it and that kind of thing. How about you?
I like to have more laziness towards the end of the day, especially on the days before I have to go back to work. And especially when it's dark. It's getting dark at 4:40.
Yeah.
No, 4:40, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe. It's like 4:50 right now. It's dark.
Once it's dark, I don't want to go out with the people. I don't want to go grocery shopping.
Yeah.
But I take that back. If it's like the day off before, so if I have 2 days, I'll go out on that first day.
Yeah.
But if I have to go to work the next day, I don't want to go out.
Yeah, I feel the same way too. It's kind of my time to be inside, not do anything.
Be in my safe space.
Relax. Yeah, be in a safe space because I swear as soon as it gets dark, people get chaotic, especially when they're driving. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's tough because sometimes you actually have to go out and do things.
Right. And sometimes you can only do things at a certain time, especially if you have something planned earlier in the day. So
what do you think some of the myths are about being lazy in terms of having a lazy day? like, and I talk about myths, like one of the things is I feel guilty sometimes.
Mhm.
Like if I have a lazy day and I'm like, oh, I really need to go like do X and X
Why do you feel guilty?
because I have the time off and I feel like I should always be going, going, going. But I think that's, partially the environment that we were raised in. The United States is like
Like our culture
our
here in the
culture,
United States. Yeah.
is
Do you
like work, 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 right?
do you think part of it is also like not just related to our culture, but like maybe how you grew up? Like, is your family more like, let's always do things, every day? I mean, I know the answer
Yeah,
to that.
I mean, you already know,
But
yes. Both
like
my
what
mom
else?
and dad. My dad works a ton. My
Uh-huh.
mom doesn't so much work a ton. Like she works a full-time job, but
Yeah.
she is always doing something in
She
terms of
stays
chores.
busy.
Yeah, chores around the house or
Hmm.
something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's how I was kind of raised as well. But having like it's hard to like take the time to say, yeah, I'm not gonna do anything.
Yeah. For me, it's the opposite. I do not feel guilt when I
Mm,
have a lazy day because, well, I do sometimes. So most of the times I don't because I know what I need for me.
hmm
Like I know what I need to be a productive member of society. And honestly, sometimes when the week gets very hectic, I feel like I don't have enough time on the weekends to be lazy and get that time where I just don't have
hmm
to think about a lot of things. Maybe I could, sometimes I just want to do like a task that doesn't require a lot of brain energy. Um, but yeah, so most of the time I don't. Sometimes I do, especially maybe you're working on a project for our apartment,
Yeah,
like you've been cleaning
cleaning up
out
the
a
storage
lot of
unit.
different
Yeah,
things, like our storage unit and stuff like that. So then sometimes I do feel guilt because I'm like, oh, well, I have this day off, but
yeah,
also I need some me time,
right.
to like relax and do nothing. So then I feel like I'm behind or I'm not doing enough. And that's a challenge. And
Yeah, and I think you've said that to me as
yeah,
well. And
yeah.
then we get in like a little tiff. I feel like
Hmm.
sometimes, like I'm doing this not because like I'm doing
Yeah.
my own thing,
Yeah.
but then sometimes I actually want you to help me with it. So
Yeah,
it's like it
yeah,
goes back and
yeah,
forth.
yeah. So it's this really hard balance of like for me, when I think about our relationship,
Mm,
we're very different in that way.
yeah,
You're extroverted, you have a lot of energy, which I'm like, that's amazing. I wish I had that much energy. Like we just said, a lazy day is very different for you than it is for me.
yeah,
And I think sometimes when we're out and it's just we consider it a more chill day compared to what we usually do, it takes energy out of me
yeah.
to be around people and be talking and, if we go do something with others.
I
So,
think you talked about taking the time to go and do nothing. For
mhm.
me, I will go and go and go until I like crash, basically
Yes, yeah.
until I'm like my body's like, nope, you have to have a lazy day,
Mhm.
and hopefully that happens on a day that I'm off. Otherwise, it's hard to
Yeah.
get through the rest of the work days sometimes
Right. Yeah.
if you don't take the time. So
Right. It's really tough.
it's it's tough to not have guilt. I'm
Yeah,
looking through
definitely.
our outline here.
So, what would you tell yourself? Because I know you said you feel guilt.
hmm
So, how can you reframe that in a way where you maybe don't feel that
So I
guilt?
don't always feel guilt. Maybe to specify a little bit, I feel guilt like when I watched TV sometimes because I was raised not to watch television like
Mhm.
during the day and like only watch like an hour or so a day
Yeah.
and not to have a lot of screen time and things
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
So like when I listen to my audiobook, then I don't really feel guilt
Mhm.
so much. Or if I'm out like in nature,
Mhm.
uh, I don't have so much guilt. But that's kind of hard sometimes,
Mhm.
just when it's cold and rainy out.
Right.
So finding things where I get out of the apartment, I like that. And then when it's dark out, then I'm inside the apartment.
Mhm.
And then, writing my blogs on my computer and things like that, that I don't really have a lot of guilt with.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
So-
So,
What about unplugging? Like, I talk about writing my blog and stuff. I don't use social media a lot.
mhm.
Like, I'll watch YouTube. I think sometimes I'll get really into it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I'll just kind of watch a video here or there.
Mhm.
I don't watch it on my phone. Usually I'll watch it on the television.
Mhm. I like social media and I like my screens. Um,
You just bought what was it, a DS
a
or
Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
For nostalgia purposes.
for nostalgia
I-
purposes?
I don't know.
Mm.
I've been trying to get off of social media more.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it is a toxic environment.
Yeah, especially with
And
like politics and everything going on
I
right
try
now.
to stay away from that
Yeah,
because
right.
I don't want to even look at that. More so, like I'm looking at dog videos and funny memes. And I actually just had a conversation with somebody the other day about how social media has changed
Yeah.
over time.
Yeah, it used to be all like cat videos and
It
dog
used to
videos and
be-
stuff like that, I feel like.
So much fun.
Or like the first YouTube video, I think it's still up on YouTube. I forget what it
I
was.
don't remember what it is.
But it wasn't like
It's not
really,
long,
and
it's
it's not controversial.
I don't remember
was-
it being really complex. Like
No, it
a
was
complex
simple. Yeah.
thing either. But
Oh, I think YouTube started out as a dating site originally, if I remember
was
correctly.
it? I
Yeah,
think Facebook
like you were supposed to
was.
put like your, like, hey, I'm X and X, and you know, blah 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 blah.
Oh, really? I
I'm
didn't even
pretty
know
sure
that.
it was, but yeah, but
Sure.
it started out as a very simple, like, fun going
Yeah.
thing. I think, you know, I'm not hating on YouTube. All social media is like that. Instagram, Facebook.
I mean,
like,
I
or
remember
Meta.
I remember Instagram, like when it became really much bigger when I was in high school. I remember everybody's following each other. It was exciting. People putting crazy filters on images. Just was fun.
Yeah.
It just was a place where you could be creative and show off your fun pictures of
Yeah.
when you went out. But now it's so curated.
It is.
And
I mean, you have people that are making money off it, and that's probably why it's really curated as well, right? The creators.
but also you see a lot of drama.
Yeah.
You see a lot of misinformation
Hmm.
and just things that don't impact my life. I saw a post of like one or two of the royal family members, and it was like, they went to such and such place on the weekend. This is big news. I'm thinking, why do I need to know where they
Right.
went on their holiday? Like, that doesn't matter for me.
It's
Maybe for
softer
a
news,
fan.
though.
Yeah, maybe for a fan, but like, oh, she ate this fruit.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? This isn't a news story
Yeah.
to me. But anyways, so I do like my screens. I did buy a Nintendo DS. It is very fun to play the games that I played as a child.
Yeah, and I never had a
And-
Nintendo DS growing
Yeah.
up.
I
'Cause I
have
always
one.
thought they were really cool with the double screens.
Mhm.
I had a Game Boy Advance. but
Oh yeah. I had a Nintendo DS, and actually I've been buying the games I had from my childhood
Yeah.
just because
Why not?
it's just so much fun. And I've also realized, wow, I used to think these games were so hard, and
Yeah.
they're much
And
easier
complex
and
everything.
complex.
Yeah.
And
And now
they
you
just don't
have
have a lot.
What is the?
To
I
them.
can't think of the. What do we have? The
What?
Nintendo. The,
The
Switch.
Switch.
Yeah, we have the
Mhm.
Switch. That's how much I play it. Right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's almost.
I feel like
I
it
don't-
took the place of
Yeah, but also
like
it's like
Nintendo DS.
super clear and everything,
Yeah.
which is nice, but sometimes it's nice to look at this sounds weird, but a non-clear screens.
yeah.
Thing that, you
And I
know,
feel like that's becoming more popular. Like
Right.
people are really into
I don't,
looking at older games.
I'm not sure if
and
it's
things like that.
nostalgia or like less like
Less-
information maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
like-
maybe.
Feel like you get to make up kind of in your mind what the character looks more like.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I feel like for me, I do have a hard time unplugging. I think unless we're like going out on a walk or I'm running around doing errands or things like that, it's a little bit more of a challenge. I mean, I do try to listen to podcasts instead of like maybe watch them on the screen so that
Yeah.
I'm not looking at a screen the whole time, but maybe I'm doing other activities. one thing that I had gotten into was diamond painting. You take these little jewels and you take a little pen that has putty at the end and you just stick it with the jewels. And it's basically like one of those coloring books where it's numbered like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And for number 5, you color it a certain, color, orange or whatever. And so that's been really nice to like maybe listen to something and focus on my little diamond painting. I'm not looking at a screen, but I'm still listening to something or listening to music.
It's like doing a puzzle, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like doing a puzzle in a way.
Paint by numbers / it's kind of like paint by numbers / puzzle.
Yeah, another thing I like to do that I haven't done in a while that I should pick back up is I love like Sudoku and word searches and that kind of thing.
I like playing board games and things like that, but you have to have someone to play them with, and like you play them with me sometimes, but it's always like it's hard to find people that also want to play board games sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
Plus, some of them take a long time. Sometimes I don't want to commit like
They're
2 hours or an hour to them.
Some of them.
Yeah, and you have to like, if you don't play it all the time, you're trying to figure out what the rules are and everything.
Right.
So
some are easier than others. Like when it's not a board game, but like when we play Speed, that's super easy. We remember how to play it and it's just quick and we can bring it with us. Whereas a board game, like if you play Catan, that has like multiple pieces that you need to like make sure you account for and are moving. And I don't always remember how to play Catan, honestly.
What about reading a book?
I read from time to time. I feel like I read more online. I like to read a lot of articles.
Like on a Kindle?
No, on my phone or on my laptop. I like to read a lot of articles, like news articles. Like I feel like every other day I look up the news, like our local news, and I'll just see what's happening. It's not always a great place, I'll be honest. But like that's my preferred thing that I read, unless I'm reading like a poetry book, which I like to read from time to time.
Yeah. I've tried the Kindles and I don't know. I struggle with the Kindle because it's still a screen.
Yeah.
And also I just don't like reading as much. I'm an audible, like I learn things better through audible things.
And I can't do audiobooks. I've tried several times, but so props to you for doing audiobooks.
It's just differently. It's just how people learn differently or like absorb information differently. Really, right. I'm not even learning. I'm just like listening to whatever, like a guy climbing up a mountain or something.
Yeah, like I'd prefer to listen to a podcast, but actually read something and read the words.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Podcasts are different. They flow very differently than an audiobook.
Yeah, they definitely because it's a conversation.
Yeah,
it's more real life.
Yeah.
Instead of...
And it can flow any which way depending on what you're talking about.
A book is very specifically curated for like every single word that is picked and time is thought out in it. Yeah.
You got to have somebody who reads it really well.
Right. There's that too.
Not every audiobook voice is created equal.
I like the ones that are read by the authors themselves. Those are just like super... They're almost always very good.
Yeah.
I don't think I've run into one that's not good.
That's good. I think the main kind of takeaway from our podcast is that you should have lazy days.
Yeah.
You should take time for yourself and try to feel less guilt about that because we live in a very chaotic world, especially right now. There's a lot of information that's always coming our way, no matter if you're on social media or you're out and about in the world. And it's just important that you have time to unwind and take that time for yourself. It's good. I feel like it's good for your physical and your mental health.
It is, yeah. Not be as stressed and even if it's like taking part of a day, like I do part of like, that's what I tried to do today. It didn't work out.
It doesn't always work out.
Just taking saying so what I've tried doing lately is if I'm going to work on emptying our storage unit, I will set a timer for 45 minutes to an hour. And when that goes off, I try to abide by stopping I'm doing.
Yeah, that's good to
have.
But
it's hard.
Time.
It's hard to abide by that. Or if I'm working on my blog post, I'll set a timer for 20 minutes and and then you take a break or whatever. But
yeah, I think that's a good practice, if that works for you. I know in my, like, even just work schedule, sometimes I block off things for tasks I need to work on, and that
Yeah.
really helps with just balancing out my life in general.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think this was a good conversation in terms of trying to figure out what we like out of a lazy day and why to have them.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us on Brewed Together, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.